So today we are once again going to talk about food, I think, and we are also, just as I'm reading it, we're going to talk about plants, we're going to talk about health, we're going to maybe even talk about working out, probably. I don't know, it just depends on how fast we're going to be today. So we're once again going to go through Own Your Day, Own Your Life, I guess it is called, or Own That Day, Own Your Life, something like that. It is a very, very, very good and interesting book about health, working out, working, I think, as well somehow. But yeah, we're going to see after the intro. As always, as we are always doing this stuff. And I'm really pumped going through just this one because I know that there's going to be a lot of interesting things in there, a lot of cool things in there, but why isn't it working? You want to tell me that it is, or nothing is working? This could always be the case. Let's have a look. No, it is not working. For whatever reason. Yeah, it is actually indeed not working. My fucking shortcuts. But why? I know this is a question that I'm often having. So yesterday we went through drive time and a lifetime, essential supplements, or did we? Yes, we did. And just some other shit. More fat, less sugar, or don't eat. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about the power plants at first, and then we're probably also going to come to some other shit. So yeah. Poppy tea was a mild pain-relieving folk medicine when it became opium. Then it became opium. Then it became heroin, and then it became Oxycontin, Vicodin, and Percocet, or some shit. I don't know. Machajito juice of 1.5 or half a lime, 3 spring mints, and 1 teaspoon of matcha, 3 drops of liquid stevia, and 8 ounces of sparkling water. Instructions. Into the bottom of a cocktail shaker, mull the lime and mint. Add the matcha stevia and 2 ounces of sparkling water. Shake briskly and pour into a large glass. Add ice of this if desired and top with the remaining sparkling water. Stir and serve. Which seems to be just something. I hope he's also explaining that. Adding good fat to caffeine is not a new concept. In Tibet, where the conditions are cold and harsh, the work is long and people need fuel throughout the day. They have been putting yolk butter in their tea for ages. Rob went to other direction and started recommending adding fats like butter, cacao butter, or MCT as supplements to your morning coffee. Not only does that taste delicious, but the feeling of time-released caffeine through fat's slower absorption rate has fueled the butter coffee craze. Or craze, I don't know. But yeah, why not? In a pinch, full-fat dairy like whole cream will do. In a pinch, full-fat dairy like whole cream will do, but better than that is to whip out a blender and add a serving of grass-fed butter, coconut oil, or cocoa butter to make a frothy, fatty latte and get those fat macronutrients into your life. Perhaps best fat source for your caffeine, though, is MCT oil, which is something. I don't know what MCT oil is, to be honest. Maybe we can look it up really quickly. What is it? A family of cryogenic methane-fueled rocket engines. I don't think, well, it is a SpaceX kind of entry there, so I don't really know that we're gonna, I don't think that we're gonna have rocket and rocket fuel in our just cafe, so never mind. What the fuck? The tricky part for us, as we talk about owning this day and taking our work to the next level, is that nicotine, the active component of tobacco, while carrying its own risks, has a ton of performance benefits. Apparently, I didn't know about that. Swedish snus, moist tobacco powder you tuck under your upper lip, appears to be one of the healthiest forms of smokeless tobacco. Yes, indeed. A lot of people in at least Austria are doing that. Especially like in my age, like everyone quite. I just don't believe in it. But it is like a small little package of tobacco and you really indeed put it under your lip, your upper lip. And then the nicotine gets absorbed by those areas you're having there. I don't know how they're called in English, unfortunately. But yeah, and of course there's also some just back sides of that or downsides of that. For example, like I do think that some Canadian hockey players that really do snooze a lot or use snooze a lot, I do kind of feel like that they're just, since it is quite acidic, the tobacco itself, and it just really indeed is an aggressive substance. And I think they're actually having a hole just might be in their bone, and they can somehow, I think, reach through it and just to their eye and some shit. So there's some crazy shit that can really indeed be happening because of that. At least I think. I also believe that I have read it somewhere and stuff, but I'm not quite sure. You should totally look that up because I'm really unsure. Like it's just 5% or some shit. So please look that up. But there is definitely downsides just because tobacco as a substance is indeed quite aggressive. For now, the best analysis comes from the same highly respected London Royal College of Physicians paper, which suggests that the hazard to health arising from long-term vapor inhalation from the e-cigarettes available today is unlikely to exceed 5% of the harm from smoking tobacco. That is to say, it might be 20 times safer. And while they acknowledge that there are no medical standards for the production of vapor, largely made of glycerin, though many have begun to move away from that, they strongly encourage all cigarette smokers to make the switch. So if you really don't want to smoke something, I mean, it of course is going to be a different experience. And when we indeed talk about experience and what it feels like to smoke a cigarette, it's going to be something different. It's not going to be the same, but I mean, like, to be honest, it is better than no smoking. Oh no, it's better than smoking. I mean, well, from the point of view of an addict, it is definitely also going to be better than not smoking. You're going to have your just tobacco, you're going to have your nicotine, and I think you're just going to get used to it. I really believe that because, I mean, it's the exact same shit. You're just smoking something. Maybe there's even more vapor or more just smoke there, which can be something cool, can also not be something cool. I don't know. I think just if I believe in what he's saying, because I don't know, I would have to look that up. But why not? Why not? Nicotine gum or patch. This is the cleanest way to get nicotine into your system, period. With the clinical efficiency, however, the ritual and a lot of the fun is lost, which is why these alternatives don't work so well in helping people quit. But for the biohacker on a mission to optimize mental performance for short stretches, this is the cleanest way to do it. And I hope that he's actually getting into that, because I want to know why nicotine is actually good for some reasons. Because, well, I might be talking about that later on, but we'll see. It was this experience with the plant that eventually led me to place Huperzia serrata at the heart of supplementing high brain function. I woke up and put in my human charger earbuds. I did 23 burpees, power shower, had a great breakfast, and I took my supplements. So 23 burpees, he says that after waking up, after quite some time, you should move in some way. You can do some burpees, which is going to take like 1 to 3 minutes, as they were talking about yesterday, or in the part that we went through yesterday. But you can also just do something that's, longer, like yoga, which is then going to take you, I think, 10 to 13 minutes, something like that. So you can decide between something that's more impact, but it just doesn't take that much time, and or just lower impact, but you're going to have to just use up more of your time, whatever you prefer the most. And then indeed taking a cold shower with some breathing exercises and stuff like that, and then indeed supplements. If I'm writing or working late, podcasting or playing chess in a bathroom or boardroom, it is caffeine, nicotine, and alpha brain that I bring to the front lines. If they're controlling your life, consider the well-established practice of harm reduction and find ways to transition to a less harmful method of frequency to limit your downside exposure. To check myself, I'll pause with them for a week or something, even a month. But I would actually like to just know what the fucking upsides of fucking nicotine are. And also, like, what did he say? Blah, 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 blah. Caffeine, which, it's a drug, by the way, and we all are doing that. Nicotine and alpha brain. I don't know what alpha brain is. Probably just some... I do kind of think about some guarana stuff, if it is called like that, I don't know. Or some what is it called? Like just energy drinks, just in a tablet form. Could be the case, I don't know. The 7th point, or chapter 7, if you will, doing work. I'm a firm believer that there are 2 kinds of people in this world. Those who need to find purpose and meaning in what they do for a living, and those who find purpose and meaning elsewhere and use work as a means to those ends. Yes, indeed. Yes, really indeed. And as I'm just thinking about it, like indeed, I'm seeing this as well. Like, some people are pretty fine with just working something, but they do not want to work that much because they also want to do what would really mean something to them. Of course, since, if I'm getting this right, by the way, and those who find purpose and meaningful elsewhere and use work as a means to those ends. Well, I think it's the same thing that I'm thinking about. And the problem that I'm seeing is that we work quite a lot in our lives, like really, really, really a lot. And I don't know if it is a good idea. I don't know if it is a good idea if you just decide to do it in a way like, okay, I'm gonna just work something to just get some money, and I'm then in my leisure time, and I hope that I'm gonna have just a lot of leisure time, I'm doing just the stuff that I really wanna do. Like, I don't know how much leisure time you're gonna have. I don't know how possible it is, because you just need something to live off of course. On the other hand, like, I don't know, if your hobby or if the thing that you really want to do, if it is also generating some money, then it's probably going to be fine. But, it's a difficult conversation, and it just totally comes up to what you prefer and what you value as well. This then is your job to figure out your mission so you can own not just this day, but every day after it. So what do you want to do? What does your best self want more than anything else? What's wants so bad that your inability to stop thinking about it will make it impossible for anyone to stop you from achieving it? ? Think about it, because in a few chapters we're going to ask you to write it down. So better think about it right now, motherfucker. The research found that 45% made fewer errors when they could smell lemon, 33% fewer with jasmine, and 20% fewer with lavender. Lemon, jasmine, lavender tea for the win. I do wonder what study that is, and also in terms of like what they tested and what they did and what errors they're talking about, what task they think about and stuff. So I don't know, but it's an interesting thing. And what I have to think about is like the whole biohacking scene is just pretty interesting, and you should definitely also have a look at it. Maybe you can use some things, of course. I do not really believe in just supplementing anything. Of course, I mean, like, if you're vegan and some shit, then you just need to supplement certain things. And if you're just having a certain lifestyle, then you also need to supplement certain things. I would also just consider like athletes that they might be having or should be having a certain amount of supplements, since they really are active and since they're really pushing themselves and whatnot. So I don't know. Like, it's difficult to say. Suppose that every time you're going to try to enter a flow state, you have a certain essential oil that you smell. After a while, your brain will link that flow state to the scent. Eventually, you will be able to use that scent in reverse, helping you to evoke that desired flow state. I think as it is with music, as it is with being in a certain spot in your flat or just in your office and some shit like that. So I don't know. I don't know if you need to have a scent. Yeah, I don't know. But I think I'm actually gonna drink a tea then. I'm just really into drinking a tea right now. I don't know why, actually. But without caffeine. I don't like caffeine. I don't want to have it in my system. Because I don't know, I don't feel like that it is something that I need. Therefore, why should I? Yeah. In fact, evolutionary biologists credit laughter with exactly that purpose, diffusing what would ordinarily be tense situations. The moment you can laugh about something, the threat is over. If anyone is in an energetically challenging place, instead of indulging it or telling them to fix it, be a good teammate and shoot for laughter. Which is something pretty interesting, and it also makes sense. And this is indeed also one of these things that I appreciate reading about, because we can use that. We can use it to make our lives easier and make other people's lives easier. It's just a pretty nice thing. Even though we should all look that up, because I don't know how old the book is. I don't know how just, recent all this stuff is. I don't know if there's a study on it, whether this is just some statement or not. So yeah. If you start the day off with the hardest thing you need to accomplish, you're going to enjoy the whole day a hell lot of more. Yes, indeed. Once you figure out your mission, write it down and put it somewhere you will see it. The first thing I do is to turn on my Zen fontaine and my oil diffuser. I mean, it is all about routines, isn't it? I don't just routines. The next thing is going to be about eating. And this is something that I really am looking forward to, because I want to know what he's talking about there. Some really cool things as I'm going through it. Some really interesting and cool things. I'm looking forward to it. The 8th chapter. And I think it's really long. What? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go through it today. We will see. Eat a weird lunch. Calories aren't real and humans don't actually burn them. What the body actually does is to break down food in complex metabolic pathways, utilizing amino acids for muscles, shuttling nutrients into cells and storing energy. When we work out, we don't burn the calories from the last meal we ate like a coal-powered engine. Energy in the body comes from a chemical called adenosine triphosphate. Pretty funny because I think it's been last year. I think last year I've had chemics in school, and it is one of the things that we just talked about so often. Adenosine triphosphate that the body generates from a variety of sources, including glycogen, ketones, protein, and fat that our body had previously stored. Protein. An 8-ounce steak is 50 grams of protein by itself, and that is usually the smallest option on most restaurant menus. So if you're totally looking for gains, bro, try hitting that 30-gram mark, because more is likely just going to be unnecessary extra work for your organs and your wallet. Indeed. I think people say that you can only absorb 21 grams of protein. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I see so many people, athletes and stuff, and they're just eating, I don't know, really indeed 50 grams of protein per meal. And then I have to think like, well, does this make sense? But yeah, I mean, we also just need to get the calories in. So before you just get some carbs in and stuff, like, I don't know. The ideal source: grass-fed beef, wild-caught salmon, pastured raised eggs, sprouted pumpkin seeds, or hemp seeds. What is a pasture raised egg? Sprouted pumpkin seeds or hemp seeds? Soluble fibers. Soluble fibers mix with water and form a gel-like substance. If you've ever had chia seed pudding or a chia slurry, you have a good sense of what it looks like. I wonder, maybe I'm actually going to do this. Ideal sources: chia, flax, asparagus, and gurgam. Okay. Insoluble fibers plays an important role in making sure your digestive tract has enough substance to push through the system efficiently and completely. Okay. Ideal sources: avocado, sprouted barley. We see barley. I really like barley. It's pretty cool. Mixed greens, popcorn, and psyllium. I see. Fermentable fiber. Fermentable fiber or resistant starch is often called a prebiotic because your friendly neighborhood gut bacteria are able to digest or ferment it to use as food, whereas probiotics actually contain more friendly bacteria to help populate your gut colony. Prebiotics provide the food they need to thrive. I see, because I didn't really know the difference between probiotics and prebiotics. I see. So I think, you need both of them. At least it would make sense, quite. The ideal sources I can't read today. Garbanzo beans or hummus, dandelion greens, and chicory root and or onions. The more I know. Carbs. Your goal when it comes to carb consumption is to slow them down as much as possible. The best way to eat carbs then is to eat things that already have the fiber in them. Things like jams, white jams, sweet potatoes, quinoa, sprouted or fermented grains, and some fruit. So if fiber and fats slow down the absorption of sugar, what do you suppose produces their fastest absorption? Well, something that has neither fiber nor fat. The liquid greased lightning of sugar, soda. What was the point of the sentence? I don't know. But you should slow it down as much as possible, and which means that you're going to have slow carbs, i.e. everything that is on the GI scale pretty low, which is not a lot of grains, but barley is. Oats, not that well, not that good, but still low, I guess. It's 55, which is kind of on the edge to medium, and from slow or low to medium. Cholesterol. Oh, by the way, what I have already. And certain fruits. Yes, indeed. Some fruits are really not slow carb. For example, pineapples, watermelon, dates, unfortunately, but they're pretty fucking good. Well, yeah. Cholesterol. There are studies showing that even in the elderly, high cholesterol can be protective. In these older populations, the higher the cholesterol, the lower your risk of heart disease. Not to mention that cholesterol levels that are too low are actually associated with increased risk of death from other causes like cancer and suicide. I see. Like this, I think it is. I mean, this is such a controversial thing. People say yes, people say no, whatnot. Yeah. Ideal sources: coconut oil, animal fat, avocado, grass-fed butter, egg yolk, olive oil, MCT oil, and cacao butter. I see. Prebiotics. You aren't just what you eat, you're also what you ate. What Now I get it. You aren't just what you eat, but you're also what doesn't make any sense. What you ate. Well, anyway, probiotic foods are those that feed the bacteria already present in the gut. Fueling those little dudes, which outnumber the rest of the body cells 10-1. It's pretty important and why foods rich in fermentable fiber and resistant starch are so key. When you heat a cool potato or rice, you turn some of the digestible starches into resistant starch via a process called retrogradation. In addition to feeding your friendlies, the retrograded starch will have a diminished effect on elevating blood sugar levels, which is what the GI index is all about, which will help you ward off the afternoon drowsies. Ideal source: Jerusalem artichokes, blueberries, almonds, and pistachios, and especially high quantities in chicharo root, dandelion greens, and onion. What is chicharo? I do know that it is apparently some kind of root. I think it is the one that is pretty bitter, isn't it? Blue-flowered Mediterranean plant of the daisy family. Well, probiotics. Probiotics foods add more friendly bacteria into your system, the ones that not only break down food in the stomach, but also start breaking down food outside the stomach as well. Miso, kimchi, sauerkraut, yes. This is going to be all the fermented foods you can get, so eat them. Sauerkraut, pretty good, pretty good. I think sauerkraut is actually Austrian, but I don't know. Let's see. Maybe they can say something. A German dish of chopped pickled cabbage. I kind of actually want to look that up. I'm going to do this afterwards. Maybe I'm going to put it down in the description or in the show notes, if you will. It kind of pisses me off, by the way, that I can't switch today, which makes everything a little bit more boring. But I really enjoy reading through this. But I just want to go through the thing about rice once again. So when you heat and cool potatoes, so when you let them cool down or rice, you turn some of the digestible starches into resistant starch via a process called blah, 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 blah. And I've actually also seen it with a trainer of some celebrity, some actor, and he said okay, if you cook the potatoes, you have to let them cool down, which is making them slower. The GI index is going lower, and yeah. Omega-3. There are a lot of different protective foods to the extent that any nutrient-dense food you eat is probably doing something to benefit or bolster one of the systems in your body, but two classes of food stand above the others for their essential protective nature. First of all, omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants. Omega-3 fatty acids are called essentially fatty acids because the body can't produce them and needs to source them from food. Ideal sources: chia, flax, and sasha or saka inchi seeds, wild-caught fish like sockeye, salmon, sardines, and mackerel, grass-fed beef, as long as it is grain-finished. Isn't grain-finished. I don't know what grain-finished is, but antioxidants have been touted at one time or another as a cure for everything from cancer to the common cold, while they hype for antioxidants as a panacea was definitely overblown. What is absolutely true is that they reduce oxidative stress in the body for eliminating free radicals, hungry molecules on the hunt for electrons to quench their unending molecular thirst. What the fuck? Okay. I don't know what this is all about. I feel like that I should read it once again. Antioxidants, I'm very sorry, have been touted at one time or another as a cure for everything from cancer to the common cold. While the hype for antioxidants as a panacea was definitely overblown, what is absolutely true is that they reduce oxidative stress in the body by eliminating free radicals, which are hungry molecules on the hunt for electrons to quench their unending molecular thirst. The more we know. Polyphenols help reduce something called C-reactive protein, which is a marker of inflammation. The best sources for polyphenols are chocolate, red wine, and green tea. I see. I don't eat or drink either one of those, but there must be something else that I can consume. Therefore, I mean, this would, I think dark chocolate, isn't it the case? But I don't know. Anthocyanins are immune booster present in dark fruits like blackberries, blueberries, acai, blackcurrant, and cherries, as well as black rice and eggplant. Like Tupac and Kendrick always say, the blacker the berry, the stronger the... What the fuck? I do wonder if they said that, but The blacker the berry, the stronger the anthocyanins. I like the style of the book. It is like a little bit random, and I appreciate that. Curcuminoids have earned a lot of buzz for their ability to reduce inflammation, found primarily in turmeric. And those yellow root gives curry powder its color. Not only do they reduce oxidative stress, they are specifically valuable for the brain and may help reduce the burden of age-related brain conditions. I see. So, I mean, like, as he also said, like, there's a lot of fucking things that you can consume or maybe should consume. Garlic is one of these mysterious foods that has been used therapeutically for millennia. It contains multiple antioxidant compounds that, among other things, subdue the common cold like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Well, yeah. Or some other dude that is just moving, I guess. Sulforaphane is an antioxidant compound produced when raw, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage are chopped or stewed. When raw, okay. Evidence suggests that sulforaphane may help inactivate and eliminate carcinogens as well as help decrease DNA damage by reducing inflammation, the underlying cause of many diseases. Ideal sources are dark chocolate, red wine, green tea, berries, black rice, turmeric, and black pepper, garlic, broccoli, sprouts. I see black pepper. So now let's add black pepper to fucking everything that we're eating. But yes, indeed, like there's just a lot of things that are just good. Period fucking. You know, not fucking period, but period fucking. So here's the deal. Pretty much every vegetable or well-sourced protein contains good vitamins and minerals. But if you're going to get all the trace macronutrients, you need to really get your body and your brain humming on a regular basis. You need to vary your dietary intake and pull from the WTF is that part of the salad bar. Here are a couple of winners. Cauliflower is so hot right now. I really like it, by the way. Seaweed, sea veggies contain high levels of ocean minerals, including iodine, magnesium, manganese, iron, and other trace minerals. Organ meat, liver, heart, kidney, sourced from pasture-raised animals, is one of the world's most nutrient-dense superfoods. Yes, indeed. But I don't know if I should suggest it or not. You know, I suggest nothing that he's saying. Not because I don't believe in it, but because I don't want to be fucked, you know? When it comes to diet and health, anti-nutrients are the one step back, and they are just as important to avoid as the two steps forward we need to make with macro and micronutrients. And the first one is going to be sugar. I would actually like to go through the whole one because it is so fucking interesting. I think I'm gonna just do that, but I don't know. Where is it? Sugar, of course, is the biggest anti-nutrient of all them. So here's the move. Anytime you can't believe it is not butter, or you see something with trans fats, throw that shit in the trash. You can't believe it's not butter. Even if it says 0 grams trans fats on the packaging, double check that the ingredients don't include anything listed as partially hydrogenated, XY oil, because that shit is trans fat. How could I then just actually believe in what the fucking package says if it is just not right? What the fuck? When you're cooking for your health, even if you're indulging in some delicious pan-fried foods, you want to make sure you don't heat your fats. Olive oil, butter, coconut oil do what is called their smoke point. This is where healthy fats start to turn unhealthy because once they burn, they start to produce toxic compounds called aldehydes, which interestingly are also in a class of compounds that accumulate when we drink too much alcohol, making us feel hungover. Pretty interesting. But there's also some oils you can buy, some olive oils that are refined so that their smoking point is higher. And so just, I think, use them. Some shit. Avocado oil has the highest smoke point of all cooking oils. With a nice mid flavor, it is great for any kind of saute or stir fry. And with a smoke point upward of 500 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll be hard pressed to storage it unless you crank the burner to 11 and then forget about it. I think if you really want to do that, you can also do that. I think it sounds so dumb, but I think it is actually the case that, you know, if you really want to do something, then you're also going to be able to do that. Does all this mean you need to go run screaming from the conventional produce section to your local supermarket? No. Just understand that pesticides are not good for you, and that eating organic as much as possible will be the surest way to avoid the anti-nutrients conventional produce contains. Tartrazine, also known as FD&C yellow #5, found in many of those tasty mac and cheese boxes and Kraft singles marketed to kids, is particularly ugly, having been correlated with behavioral changes including irritability, restlessness, depression, and difficulty sleeping. What the fuck? A huge study looking at 1,873 children showed that food dye in conjunction with sodium benzoate, a common preservative, also increased hyperactivity. Is it any wonder we are hanging out ADD medications to our kids like candy? I hope we are not, but apparently we are. Packed with vitamins and minerals, cilantro or coriander leaves. No, it's not the same if you're not from North America. Is it actually? I thought cilantro is it coriander? Well, I don't fucking know. Can I please have a translation? No, I can't have. If you're not from North America, in moderation has been shown in several studies to have the unique ability to help the body chelate, a fancy word for eliminate, heavy metal accumulation. In other words, make sure you're drinking plenty of water to flush urine, having regular bowel movements, and sweating to release the toxins. Sauna and hot yoga are great ways to ensure you're moving enough sweat. Yeah, or just have a good workout. Sprouting or fermentation disable and degrade citric acid in plant seeds so that the grain can burst through, increasing vitamins like folate, vitamin C, and vitamin E, and nutrients like lysine and crucial amino acid for immune health in the process. The tastiest version of this process is probably sourdough bread. The fermentation of the dough promotes phytate breakdown to a much greater degree than typical yeast fermentation in normal bread, resulting in a delicious delivery mechanisms for a slab of real butter and mineral-rich sea salt. I don't know why he's always talking about butter. Like, I don't want to use butter for any fucking thing, since it is bad fats. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there. It could also be. The best way to handle the oxalate in your leafy greens is simply to boil or cook them, which significantly reduces the amount of oxalate in some cases by up to 90%. Adding calcium to your dietary regime can compensate for the calcium lost to the oxalates as well. I double dare you to go buy an old school retro lunchbox, one of the metal ones, with the thermos that can keep soup hot for a week and a half. And bring the clanker to work or to school with you, filled with the best lunch you've ever made in your fucking life. In Austin, we have a restaurant called Thai Fresh, which serves all grass-fed pasture-raised meat with seasonal veggies from local farms. You get all of those weird and awesome Asian spices and fatty coconut milk and fish broth combined with great nutrients. I eat there for lunch twice a week. What is your Thai Fresh? Find it, make friends with it, and feast. The Platinum Baller on the go alternative to making your lunch or ordering out is to subscribe to a meal delivery service. Yes, I've been just hearing it more often. But yeah, the next point which we are going to go through on the next episode is going to be the binaural power nap. And I'm very looking forward to it because it is essentially also something that I wanted to talk about quite. Because binaural beats, something pretty interesting. But yeah, 36 minutes, what the fucking hell. Yeah, I'm going to end the episode there. So I wish you the best health, of happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and being remembered as a nice person, which is always a good thing. But no. 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a good thing, a really good thing. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. And don't forget about the question of the day, which is: can you do something? Can you make something that will really help somebody? Think about it, please. And maybe the next episode is also going to be about some health related stuff. I really am into that. Maybe I should actually study that, but I'll see. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see. And I'm hopefully also going to see you the next time. So have a nice day. As always, bear. This is what we do. We scream into our microphone and then we're ending the episode. And this is going to be on a black screen unless I cut it out. I don't know. I probably will.